For those of you who do not know, Tia-Clair Toomey is the fittest athlete in the world. She is it now 6 times, Tia? Thank you for joining us. Is it CrossFit game champion 6 times?
Yeah, that's correct. The title is the Fittest on Earth, but yeah, for people that aren't very familiar with the space, we definitely go with you know, the CrossFit Games champion, or you know, the Fittest on Earth.
Just merely the fittest on earth. And when we talk about the dominance in the sport, how far are you removed from the people behind you, and how hard is it to keep this title when young people continue to come and try and grab it from you hungrily every year?
Yeah, you know, it's really interesting. I find that, you know, with the younger generation coming into our sport, it's actually incredibly exciting, because nowadays we're actually having young athletes or younger people aspiring and growing up to want to be a CrossFit Games athlete. And, you know, for someone that has really only known about CrossFit space, you know, for the last 10 years, I personally grew up wanting to go to the Olympics. And so, you know, now we're hearing stories of these young athletes that are coming in and, you know, obviously trying to threaten my title. But they're growing up aspiring to be CrossFit Games athletes. And, you know, as someone that wants my legacy to live on forever, and, you know, I want to make an impact myself, it's actually incredibly, you know, humbling, but also very exciting for our sport, and something that, you know, I don't take lightly, because I've worked so hard over the last 10 years, and, you know, to make sure, you know, when that time comes for me to retire, that my legacy still lives on.
Tia-Clair, that was an excellent ambassador answer. I'm not sure, though, that you answered my question of how dominant you are and how these young people can't actually get close to where you are.
Greatest of all time. She's the Michael Jordan of her sport.
She did a great job of saying, like, it's so flattering that they keep coming after me, but they also keep losing, and they lose by a lot. So explain to the audience who may not know what your whole story is, how hard it is to stay as a 6-time champion in this obsessive, compulsive insanity that is getting fitter than everyone else in the world.
You know what? Yeah, I mean, while I'm out on that competition floor, there's no one that's going to beat me. How's that?
Well, I know that seems to be obvious, but can you explain for those who do not know how much distance there is between you and whoever is second place?
Well, I mean, this is a interesting question, because you know, as I like to stay humble, but you know, I guess I go out there absolutely every time I'm out on that competition floor, and I don't want anyone to come anywhere close to you know, threatening my title. You know, there's been years where I have literally, you know, had the highest points ranking across, you know, both men and women. And I mean, I don't know how else to explain to you that.
It's your hardest test. It's your hardest test to be humble while being this dominant. You don't have, certainly the weights are not the challenge of this. You're trying to publicly be graceful about something. You're crushing everybody.
I appreciate it, Dan. I appreciate it. Yeah, you definitely, you're definitely challenging me here. That's for sure.
Was that a doorbell, by the way?
Yeah, I think I've got someone trying to get into the house, but yeah, they'll have to wait.
Oh, really? I mean, feel free to answer it.
You can go do it if you want. We will talk among ourselves. We have a ton of questions because we're all lined up to ask you how it is that you're this good at this. Every time I watch the CrossFit Games, I don't know if you guys have the same feeling. I'm like, wow, I am really pathetic. I am not doing enough with my life.
She's going to answer the door,
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. That's no problem. I don't want that person to be waiting for 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, excellent.
They left. Do you ever skip leg days?
No. I mean, I don't really skip anything, to be honest. it's really interesting because, you know, as a CrossFit athlete, we're trying to prepare ourselves for everything and anything. And, you know, it's so important to, you know, really, like, I guess when you look at the human body, we're trying to make sure that we are prepared for whatever they throw at us. And, you know, when it comes to our training for CrossFit, where, you know, no matter what it is, there's so many different fitness domains. So, you know, I'm squatting like every single day, you know, I'm doing something upper body every single day, and we're trying to build that foundation and build that variety within the body. So, you know, it's not your typical gym session where, you know, you'll do leg day on Monday, you know, you'll do chest, Tuesday, back Wednesday. There's definitely a lot more to it when it comes to training for the CrossFit Games.
So the reputation that CrossFit has, especially from people like me who don't do CrossFit, is, oh, you're going to get hurt doing that. Everybody hurts their back. It's such unnatural motions. You should not be doing that. Have you sustained major injuries doing CrossFit? Is it as unsafe as they allege?
So, you know, that's an interesting thing. And I actually find that this day and age, when you know, we're not having as many comments like that. When I very first started, I had the exact same, you know, look as you did, you know, and it was a little daunting because, you know, when you don't fully understand and you're not fully educated on what the sport provides, you definitely can feel a little overwhelmed with what you're asked for. But CrossFit, if you have a really good coach and you go into the gym, you go into a daily class, you know, you should be coached absolutely every single time that you're there. And so what that will entail is creating that, you know, guidance when you're in that class, that when you're wanting to go and lift, you know, 100 pounds more than what you really should be, you have that coach there that's guiding you and explaining to you, hey, you know, you're not meant to do it this way. You have to, you know, start from, you know, just the barbell, for example, and learn the movement, learn the technique. Now, when I very first started CrossFit, I had really great guidance from my local gym that I started at. But, you know, for me, it was really interesting because I had to really make sure that, you know, I wasn't overdoing it, you know, and so...
Tia, there are people in the house.
There are people in the house shirtless.
People behind you.
There are people in the house. Do you know who they are? They're shirtless.
They're walking up your staircase.
Be careful. Get them out of there. Run them out of there.
I'll have to have a conversation with them after. But, yeah, you know, you know what? Truthfully, I actually did injure my back when I very first started. And, you know, learning from that experience, I can only have myself to blame. And you know what? It was because I didn't leave my ego at the door. And, you know, I pushed through it. I went through, you know, I ignored it and I thought that I could push through it. And it just wasn't the right thing to do. And from that experience, I learned from it. And you know what? Had I explained or expressed that to the coach at the time, you know, he would have been able to guide me and, you know, remove that situation. And so, you know, these types of things happen, obviously, when you're an elite athlete and you're trying to, you know, challenge yourself and push yourself to those types of limits. You know, anything can really happen. But, you know, I commend my team, you know, my coaching team, my programming team, for, you know, allowing me to be able to do what I do on a daily basis and still maintain a very healthy, you know, schedule.
I know you said you do something every day to really work on that foundation, but I want you to paint the picture what your laziest day looks like.
Oh, yeah.
Are we ordering a bunch of pizzas?
Yes.
Are we watching like 7 straight hours of Stranger Things?
Cheat day. Your worst cheat day.
You know what? I could definitely challenge you guys on a lazy day, because when it comes to rest day, man, I rest hard. And that consists of literally laying on the lounge, making sure that I am fully recovering and just, you know, watching Netflix or Hulu. eating as much as I can. Nutrition is really important, like you don't want to just be eating, processed foods or anything.
Oh, come on, eat some processed foods. Come on.
You're competitive.
You rest hard?
Yes. Listen, I am telling you, I rest better than you do. I'm telling you right now.
You
I'm a better rester than you are.
I think we need to have that competition.
Yes.
Not cross.
Have you ever sat on a couch for 48 hours and watched football like I have?
How about 7 straight commercial-free hours of football? Yeah?
You don't know how to rest.
I mean, we've definitely, during Christmas time have probably come close to that, but I don't know if 48 hours straight is something that I have ever done.
But what is the junk?
Yes.
What is the processed food? You put down your sword at the feet of a better rester, Stugotz. Give us your sloppiest day.
If you have to eat processed
the worst
food.
of it. Where's the ice cream? Where's the pizza? Where's the processed food?
Oh, okay. So, I don't mind some Domino's.
Nice.
I've definitely had, my fair share of pizza. I feel like, my go-to is I'm more of a sweets person than a savory person. So definitely chocolate and, all kinds of sugars. But, they're definitely on days that I try and make sure that I'm not eating or indulging in that as much, just because of the recovery. It doesn't really allow me to recover, and the next day I show up and I'm feeling a lot worse, or I'm feeling a little inflamed, if you will.
It's not worth it.
But that's the difference. She works out the next day. We do it again.
Well, but she's also
that's
saying,
why I'm better than her.
She's also saying, yes, you're a better rester than her. But I want to get to the audience understanding, because Tia-Clair, I don't believe they understand how competitive this world is. You can only know this from inside of it. So can you answer some questions for me quickly that would explain to people how fit you are? When you say the most extreme exercise thing that I can do 100 of these, 500 of these, whatever it is, what do you point at and say, this is something that not even my competitors can do, because I am obsessive compulsive about being good at this at the extreme?
Man, I wish I could answer that quickly for you, but that's a tough one. I think it comes down to the particular workout that we're doing. So, we definitely have like little challenges of like, how many pull-ups you can do. And I'm sure there's people out there who can, do more than, say, 64 unbroken pull-ups, but doing things like 64 unbroken pull-ups. I'd challenge you guys to see how many pull-ups you can do.
We cannot do.
Thank you.
The whole room
No.
could not do 64. I
Challenge
don't think.
not
the whole
accepted.
room.
Yep.
I don't think anyone. It's not accepted.
The time I do that, I feel the onset of a hernia.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. I mean, it's challenging, but you know what? We train every single day, so it's to be expected in a way.
Juju thinks he can do 64 straight pull-ups.
Okay.
No offense, salute to you, ma'am, but I would eat you for lunch on pull-ups.
Oh, wow.
No, but
Salute
it's,
to you.
it's unbroken pull-ups.
Unbroken, yeah.
You can break them, unbreak them. I would put them across your back.
I don't think you can do it,
All right,
Juju.
well, we're going to have to do this.
We need to set up a time for you to come here to Nashville and do the challenge.
We will have to send Juju out there only for the pull-up challenge.
Worth it, though, Dan.
Can you tell us what is the sickest that you feel during any point of your workout or in the games experience? Because I got to imagine at some point you're pushing through the physical feeling of nausea. I got to imagine that you're throwing up quite often.
No, not that quite often. I think when we're doing or going through our training cycles, we're gradually building. So, you're evolving throughout your training cycle. The worst I probably feel is when I've had some time off and, I'm just getting back into it. And so trying to retrain that intensity and everything, that's definitely something that, I would probably feel my most sickest. I don't believe I've ever vomited in a workout before, so I don't know if I've just not pushed it that hard. But there's definitely times where it's really hot, and I think that definitely plays a really big contributed to how you're feeling as well.
What do you regard, though, as the thing on your resume that you can do physically that represents to you beyond the titles, right? Because it's an overall fitness, I understand, but where your strengths reside are where? Where are the advantages that you have over everyone else in your field?
Everything.
Every single exercise. See, there you go.
That's how you
there
do
you
it.
go. That's
Yes.
how you do it without the
That's how
humility
you talk
right
trash.
there. So you're saying there's nothing you hate to do. There's nothing you don't hate leg day. There's nothing that you hate to go in the gym and do.
Nothing. Yeah, bring it to me. I'm up for any challenge. I love it.
Do you find that this world is filled, because it has to be obsessive to be good at it? Do you find that the world of fitness is filled with body dysmorphia?
What?
I don't even really know how to answer that one. I think people don't understand some of the things that we do, and because of not being educated on it, maybe that is caused to the general population having certain opinions. I don't know if I've just answered your question, but yeah, I've never really thought of that question.
The reason I'm asking the question is because I have assumed that whenever you're pouring yourself into something physically the way that this is, because it's not just athletics or sport, it's also just the cultivating of the body. And there are so many, you guys are making so many others feel bad about their body that I assume that the obsessive pursuit of body perfection can also all around you lead to all sorts of mental frailties. I would just imagine in any workplace like this.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I think you make a good point. But I think that, yeah, you kind of got me stumped a little bit.
Same here.
It's interesting. Pardon?
He says
Same, yeah.
same
I didn't
here.
understand the
He
question.
didn't understand the question, but he doesn't know what dysmorphia is.
Right. That.
Yeah, no, I think that people think that it's impossible, and at the end of the day, I guess it comes back down to, each individual and like what they want to achieve and, how they want to live their life and everything. And, I guess to some degree, my husband, he always, says, oh, well, my fittest is always below Tia's unfitness. And so I guess there is probably a little bit of that, but I don't really ever look at it like that, because I think I always try and encourage or welcome the people around me to, I guess, live their life the way they want to live it.
Can you take us through just your most extreme workout day? How long is it? Take us through just step by step, how much of what you're doing on the day that is most rigorous?
So we've done like 14-hour days leading into the CrossFit Games, and that consists of doing a long endurance run in the morning. It consists of going to the pool and doing some swimming. It consists of about an 8-hour day at the gym, and that consists of doing all kinds of strength work, squatting, pressing, doing a lot of pulling, a lot of conditioning pieces. The best way to kind of describe our training is, you think of all kinds of different sports, and we're dabbling in that, and we're trying to do it. We're trying to get better at it and build that fitness. So they're long days.
What is your caloric intake daily?
Well, it really depends, but I'm more of a smaller athlete, so I only really have to try and make sure I'm eating around the 2,500 to 3,000 calorie mark.
That's light work.
Me too.
I can't believe it's that low. I can't believe
That's a morning for
you're
me.
spending 14 hours in the gym. You're clearly burning more than you're eating there.
Yeah. It's definitely a lot smaller than what people think, but I'm also quite a small athlete as well.
Does anyone have an enviable body fat percentage to you, or are you at what is your ideal? And do you just notice the perfections, or are the imperfections, whatever they are, if there are any, maddening to you?
I don't think, well, for me personally, I definitely don't worry about, my body fat percentage or anything like that. If anything, I'm trying to make sure that I have like, a bit of fat on me, if that makes sense. It is hard because, especially leading in the CrossFit Games, I am very lean just with the amount of training that I'm actually doing. But, there are some athletes that, I find are too small. But again, it really comes down to the athlete itself. They're probably just a naturally small person. Which then complements their gymnastics and their body weight movements. And then you got your bigger athletes that, really do perform well in more of the odd object or, the heavy strength movements. So for me, I actually like to compete around, 140 pounds. And that allows me to move weight efficiently, but also perform body weight movements efficiently as well.
Tia-Clair, thank you. Congratulations on your dominance. Congratulations on having not a single weakness. Stugotz likes to ask this question.
I do, yeah. I'm wondering how long, in a crazy hypothetical scenario, if I was bothering you and you needed to kill me, how long would it take you, Tia, to kill me?
It depends on which way you want to go about it.
Whichever way you prefer, the quickest way.
Beaten to death by barbells.
Yes.
I've got you in a minute.
You could just run around the block once. You can challenge him to a race around the block, and I'm pretty sure that would
We
do
are
it.
sending Juju to Nashville to take on
more than a
this
minute,
push-up or this pull-up challenge with you. Tia, thank you for being on with
1
us.
minute.
Tia-Clair Toomey, the most dominant, fittest person in the world.
Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you having me on.
Thank you.
Thank you.